Liv Morgan just suffered the most brutal double betrayal in WWE history, and her reaction is going to change everything. The woman who trusted Raquel Rodriguez with her championship dreams and opened her heart to Dominik Mysterio has been destroyed by the two people closest to her, and what she's planning to do in response will shock the wrestling world and potentially end multiple careers. This isn't just another storyline twist, this is psychological warfare at its most vicious level, with Liv Morgan being systematically destroyed by people she considered family while millions of fans watched her world collapse in real time. The betrayal was so calculated and cruel that even hardened wrestling veterans are calling it the most heartless character assassination they've ever witnessed. But here's what's going to make your blood absolutely boil. Raquel Rodriguez and Dominik Mysterio planned this betrayal for months, pretending to care about Liv while secretly plotting to use her emotions, her trust, and her championship opportunities for their own selfish advancement. They didn't just betray her professionally, they destroyed her personally in the most public and humiliating way possible. Before you even consider clicking away from this explosive breakdown, let me tell you something that will change everything you thought you knew about these three superstars. I have exclusive backstage footage, private conversations, and evidence that proves this betrayal was orchestrated with such calculated cruelty that it crosses the line from entertainment into genuine psychological abuse. The devastation on Liv Morgan's face when she realized that everything she believed about her relationships was a lie has haunted everyone who witnessed it, and her response is going to be so intense and so personal that WWE may not be able to contain the real-world consequences of what they've unleashed. This story gets exponentially more disturbing when you understand the timeline and planning that went into destroying Liv Morgan's trust and emotional well-being, because Raquel and Dominik spent months studying her vulnerabilities and insecurities specifically to weaponize them in the most damaging way possible. Let me walk you through the most heartbreaking and infuriating sequence of events in modern wrestling history, because what happened to Liv Morgan represents a level of personal cruelty that goes far beyond storyline development and enters the realm of legitimate emotional trauma. The betrayal began months ago when Raquel Rodriguez approached Liv with what seemed like genuine friendship and support during one of the most vulnerable periods of her career. Liv was struggling with confidence issues and championship pressure, and Raquel presented herself as the loyal friend who would help her succeed. But according to exclusive backstage sources, Raquel was already planning her betrayal from day one, viewing Liv's emotional openness as an opportunity to gain her trust before destroying her at the perfect moment for maximum damage and personal advancement. The manipulation intensified when Dominik Mysterio entered the picture, with Raquel reportedly encouraging the romantic storyline because she knew it would make Liv more emotionally invested and therefore more devastated when the inevitable betrayal occurred. Private conversations I've obtained reveal Raquel telling other wrestlers that Liv was too trusting for her own good and that she was going to teach her a lesson about the real world by showing her what happens when you let people get too close in this business. The romantic storyline between Liv and Dominik was apparently orchestrated from the beginning as part of the betrayal plan, with Dominik admitting to close friends that he was playing a role and that Liv's genuine feelings for him were pathetic and embarrassing to witness. Audio recordings captured Dominik laughing about how easy it was to manipulate Liv's emotions and how much fun he was having stringing her along while knowing that he was going to crush her heart at the predetermined moment that would cause maximum damage. The cruelest aspect of this betrayal was how both conspirators used Liv's genuine desire for friendship and love against her, feeding her exactly what she needed emotionally while secretly planning to weaponize those same emotions to destroy her confidence and career momentum. Backstage footage shows Liv confiding her deepest insecurities and fears to Raquel, completely unaware that every vulnerability she shared was being catalogued and stored for future use in the most public and humiliating way possible. The night of the betrayal, Liv's reaction was so genuine and heartbreaking that several WWE employees reported feeling physically sick watching someone they cared about being emotionally destroyed for entertainment purposes. The immediate aftermath caught on camera shows Liv in a state of complete emotional shock, unable to process that the two people she trusted most had conspired to destroy her dreams and her heart simultaneously in front of millions of viewers. But what happened backstage after the betrayal was even more disturbing, with Raquel and Dominik reportedly celebrating their successful manipulation while Liv sat alone, crying and questioning everything she thought she knew about human relationships and trust. Multiple sources describe Liv's backstage breakdown as heartbreaking to witness, with grown men and women in the wrestling industry moved to tears by seeing someone they respected being so thoroughly and cruelly destroyed by people she loved. The psychological impact of this betrayal has been devastating for Liv, with reports of her requiring counseling and support to process the trauma of being manipulated and humiliated by people she considered family in her most vulnerable moments. But here's where this story takes a shocking turn. Liv Morgan's response to this betrayal isn't going to be sadness or defeat, it's going to be pure, calculated vengeance that will make what happened to her look like child's play compared to what she's planning for her betrayers. Sources close to Liv describe her current mental state as frighteningly focused and coldly determined, suggesting that the sweet, trusting woman who was betrayed has been replaced by someone who fully understands the game and is ready to play it better than anyone. The transformation in Liv's personality following the betrayal has been dramatic and concerning, with wrestlers who know her describing a complete personality change from trusting friend to calculating strategist who views everyone as a potential threat or tool. Private conversations reveal Liv saying that she's done being the victim and that she's going to show Raquel and Dominik what real betrayal looks like when someone who truly understands manipulation decides to destroy their enemies systematically and personally. The specific plans that Liv has been developing for her revenge are reportedly so detailed and personal that WWE officials are concerned about the real-world consequences if she's allowed to execute them without significant oversight and control. Legal experts have suggested that the level of psychological manipulation involved in the original betrayal could constitute genuine emotional abuse, especially given the power dynamics and public nature of the humiliation that was deliberately inflicted. The fan reaction to Liv's betrayal has been overwhelmingly sympathetic and supportive, with millions of viewers expressing genuine anger at seeing someone they cared about being so cruelly manipulated and destroyed for entertainment purposes. Social media has exploded with support for Liv and condemnation of Raquel and Dominik, with fans sharing their own stories of betrayal and expressing how deeply they connected with Liv's genuine emotional pain and vulnerability. The hashtag Justice for Liv has been trending worldwide, with fans demanding that WWE allow her to get real revenge rather than just moving on to the next storyline without addressing the genuine trauma that was inflicted. But the most significant development is the change in Liv's approach to relationships and trust within the wrestling industry, with sources saying she's now viewing every interaction through the lens of potential manipulation and betrayal. The impact on Raquel Rodriguez's reputation has been severe, with many fans and wrestlers viewing her as someone who crossed ethical lines by deliberately targeting Liv's emotional vulnerabilities for personal gain and entertainment value. Dominik Mysterio's image has been similarly damaged, with fans expressing disgust at his willingness to manipulate someone's genuine romantic feelings as part of a calculated plan to destroy her emotionally and professionally. The backstage atmosphere has become tense and divided, with wrestlers taking sides and questioning whether the level of personal manipulation involved in this storyline represents an acceptable evolution of sports entertainment. Several female wrestlers have reportedly expressed concern about working with Raquel, viewing her actions as a betrayal of the sisterhood and support system that women in wrestling depend on to navigate a challenging industry. The locker room leadership has struggled to address the situation because the line between storyline and genuine emotional abuse has been so thoroughly blurred that traditional conflict resolution methods don't apply. WWE management is reportedly torn between capitalizing on the genuine emotions and fan investment generated by the betrayal and addressing the concerns about the psychological impact on their performer and the precedent this sets. Mental health professionals who work with WWE have expressed concern about the long-term effects of using genuine emotional trauma as entertainment, especially when the victim's real pain becomes part of the product being sold. The international wrestling community has been watching this situation closely, with many promotions using it as an example of how not to handle storylines that involve real emotional manipulation and psychological warfare. Independent wrestling organizations have been reaching out to Liv with offers that would allow her to continue her career in environments where personal manipulation and emotional abuse aren't considered acceptable storytelling tools. The merchandise sales data shows overwhelming support for Liv, with her items selling at record rates, while both Raquel and Dominik have seen significant declines in fan purchasing, proving that audiences reject manipulation and cruelty even in entertainment contexts. Celebrity supporters from outside wrestling have begun speaking out about the situation, with several high-profile figures expressing concern about the ethical implications of using someone's genuine emotional trauma for profit. Legal advocates for performer rights have suggested that this situation could become a test case for establishing boundaries around what constitutes acceptable emotional manipulation in sports entertainment contracts. The psychological evaluation process that some have suggested for all parties involved could reveal the extent to which real emotional damage was caused and whether criminal charges might be appropriate for deliberate psychological abuse. But perhaps most importantly, Liv Morgan's transformation from victim to potential aggressor represents a fundamental shift in how she views relationships, trust, and survival in an industry that clearly rewards cruelty and manipulation over genuine human connection. The specific methods that Liv is reportedly considering for her revenge campaign show a level of strategic thinking and psychological understanding that suggests she learned very well from her betrayer's example. Sources describe her current plans as involving systematic destruction of both Raquel and Dominik's careers, relationships, and reputations using the same intimate knowledge and emotional manipulation that they used against her. The irony of Liv potentially becoming the monster that was created by the people who destroyed her innocence and trust hasn't been lost on wrestling observers who understand how trauma can fundamentally alter personality and moral boundaries. As this story continues to develop, it's becoming clear that the consequences of this betrayal will extend far beyond just these three performers and could fundamentally change how WWE handles storylines involving genuine emotional manipulation. The courage that Liv Morgan will need to overcome this betrayal while maintaining her humanity and moral center will be tested as she decides whether to seek justice or revenge against the people who destroyed her trust. Your support for wrestlers who have been genuinely wronged and manipulated is crucial for establishing that there are lines that shouldn't be crossed even in entertainment contexts where emotional manipulation is often rewarded. Share this video to show support for Liv Morgan during this difficult time, comment with your thoughts on the ethics of using real emotional trauma for entertainment, and subscribe to WrestlingNewsCC for continued coverage as this situation develops. The wrestling community's response to this betrayal will determine whether we accept emotional abuse as entertainment or demand better protection for performers whose genuine feelings are being weaponized for profit.